forgot the tripod. So I had to go up back, get it, and now I'm here. So for my grad studies, I'm enrolled in a robotics automation program, and a lot of it is studying AI. I have not graduated on the topic, but I at least have some experience or a couple of classes behind, oh boy, classes behind me to at least talk about and give some insight on it. So the common thread, or the not thread, the common, what's commonplace right now is simulcast anime releases. What does that mean right now? So currently what that means is a show is going to simultaneously air both in Japan and the US at the same time by means of subtitles. Or if a show is, here we are, is worked on ahead of time, companies will go in and work both with the US licensor and the American licensor to create a dub, a more natural dub, by means of voice actors and voice recording studios. So what I mean by AI produced is what they will do is take a sampling of the Japanese voice actor or actress, get many samples, put it through a machine learning process. You have 4 different types: supervised, unsupervised, trained, and automatic. The automatic one that I'm referring to would be like ChatGPT. You can use either of them. I would say use supervised and trained, a combination of it, but really it's kind of like that, that personality quiz for your psychology class, like what color you are, when really everyone's a mixture of all the colors. It's kind of like that with this as well. So what they would do is take what they say, translate it, then use the AI, the different voice samplings, because you can freshly grab the different types of voices, accents, exclamations, like if they yell, if they sigh, how would it translate? Like we have our vowels, they would have some sort of other phonetic, alphabetic like for their language. It's still a language, foreign to us, but native to them, I guess. So you have that. Then there's other issues with this. So these other issues would be, well, someone has to implement it at first. Whoever implements this at first, it will be a train wreck. There's no way around that. It's going to be a train wreck because it's new, a first attempt, and these samples I'm talking about is like, you're going to have you are going to build a huge database of these voice samplings. So it will crash and burn. If people are curious or would have the initiative, I can sort of see like the illegal torrents they can get for, like, you pirate anime. I can see people pirating the anime and trying this out, because the Japanese, they will do things to fight their face. The Japanese businessmen, they have a business ego. If it's not proven, why take the risk? That's a lot of money and effort to risk something on, and it might cause them not to have their promotion that year. So this technology is still new. So someone will have to crash and burn. You also, speaking of them, they work, when you license something, they work with contracts. Well, if you're contracting something, it has to be solid. It has to be It is there. They own that. End of story. Currently, AI is not trademarkable. Any AI works. Now, this is a business. They will find a way to work the legalese, if you will, to get it to work. All right. However, you're having them change something that's not certain too. There we are. Let's see. Got the card again. I know that's annoying. So other instances to use this kind of AI technology for dubbing, you would have either lost roles that you're trying to recreate again, like the Doctor, going outside of anime, Doctor Who. The BBC did not do a good job maintaining the old reels, movie reels, TV series. They just did not keep those film reels well. So you have people going in and doing fan projects to restore as much as possible, however they can, with some missing audio. Well, you can use since most of these people are way too old to sound the same and or alive, you can use the AI in sampling, or really machine learning, to sample it in a way to recreate those voices, to recapture what was quote unquote lost, to be reheard again. And you also have some instances of either, like the Loud House with Lincoln Loud, they always like to use a fresh new talent for Lincoln's voice. So they would cast a child because it's a child. All right. One problem with the child, if the show does really well, they grow up. They go through that puberty. They don't sound the same. I do not sound like how I was 4, even though I might talk the same. So you could get samplings, work out a contract to still pay the person, if the show still continues, to still have that same quality of voice. You can have people working on a role and might die off. Well, in real life might be facing a chronic illness or some such, and they can either take samples of what they already had to continue the role until it's finished, or he can provide more samples and they can finish what's left. And you also have women who get pregnant and go through the whole birthing shenanigans after 9 months. So there is a use for this. Now, if it's ethical, all right, if you were to quote unquote ethically use this for a current project and the person is not away, one, you have to get permission. You have to get the contract to sign that they're okay or are aware that the company will use this. You cannot, a business will at first try to do it, not say anything to get away with it, because a lot of business people act under the whole, it's easier to get forgiveness than permission, because that's how they got promoted. So you have that going for them. You also have a recent fan project of a Disney voice actress where they have her voicing in a song when she didn't, and she got appalled by it, which, if I recall the story correctly, they did remove it under her request, but many people uploaded the fan song anyway. So that does scare some people into job security, but I keep stressing the samples. If you don't have enough samples, it is a machine we're talking about. It's a machine learning. A machine can only be as accurate as what is given. A machine, if you're thinking Cybernet or Cyberdyne from Terminator taking over the world, well, machines aren't that perfect. If you don't believe me, if you don't believe me, remember, if you're stuck in a traffic jam and it's someone either in a wreck or the car fails, that is a machine failure. Is it ultimately the user end failure? You're absolutely correct, but the machine failed. So with that, if you don't get enough samples, you'll end up with sort of that Vocaloid effect, if you will. How they are singing, but there's bits and pieces not being fully articulated with their voice. So with that, you'll still have a robotic sense of, what's a good word for it? Performance. You can't really get a pure performance just going solely robot alone, or AI, if you will. Let's see, go. Anyone talking? No, not yet. All right. AI or machine learning is just a tool, just like how Photoshop is for drawing. I'm also at the Hudson Alpha Helix Coil walkway. Hudson Alpha is a biochemical research facility, so that's why they have this Macmillan Park. Yeah, get this over here. Yeah, there you go. So currently, if someone is to first do it, it will, like I said, crash and burn. But I can see this being a wave of the future, because you can get something instantly. It's going to take a little bit of time and effort to get to that point, because it's about the same as, or how I see it, this would be the same as animating in CG. You can still argue that it's still not perfected, but it has gone a long way from when it started, unless you're Disney and or the Canadian animators, a la reboot, if you will. So it's going to be a long time before we can get samples or previous samples, use it, and just not have a local English voice actor. But given some of the scripts, if you do a direct translation, it might not be as a natural performance as people would like. I keep speaking of samples. How else are you going to get the samples besides a database? Well, you'd have to either use the work that you're working on or someone else's work, which is a big red flag for anyone signing a contract or a big hassle. Why? You're using someone else's work. They want money for it. How are they going to get paid if you don't do that? So that's going to be a bigger issue, because the voice actor sounds one way in this show. Let's go with Sailor Moon. The Usagi, the Japanese voice actress for Usagi. She sounds one way, but different as Masato in Evangelion. But she gave a different pitch that would work well in an Italian language than the Japanese language. Well, those are two different, same voice actress, but those are animated by two different studios, written by two different people, and a whole different cast work between them. So you're trying to cross-work where cross-work is not really allowed. Yeah, I'm trying to work out too while doing this. Let's see. CG, Vocaloid, pronunciations. Sound like, oh yeah, one of the one big complaint this would solve if they use AI simultaneous dubbing would be the English dub will finally sound like the Japanese voice actor or actress, even if it isn't them speaking their language naturally. That is a big issue for some. I know that there are people who will watch a show if it's a native language within the setting, like for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It would be an English dub first, second. Then for the third one, it would be Japanese and a whole bunch of mixtures. The fourth one would be Japanese. The fifth one would be Italian. The sixth one would be American, so on and so forth. Ooh. Huh. So this, at first this won't work, or it won't happen due to cost, business ego, knowing the failure of the first to pioneer this, getting samples, time, AI generated content cannot be copyright. So it would be kind of hard to possibly do at first. Yeah, some people will fear job deniability due to using a robot to take over a performance. Well, that's just it. A performance, it is hard to replace a human performance with something that's artificial because you can tell the artificialness of it. Like if you have the chewy Chips Ahoy cookies versus cookies you made at home from scratch, you can definitely tell the difference. You can tell which one has been processed and one that feels like it's been homemade and someone actually made it. Well, that's if it's those famous Amos cookies. Overall, for this to work, it will take time. Over time, the quality will improve. Like I said, I'm still surprised no one has, through the torrents, no one has tried to use this technology to create a simultaneous dub or have the Japanese dubbed into English by this use and means. I have heard different voice samplings where they use this technology, like Freddie Mercury singing different anime themes, which still, it sounds disjointed like I described. But I've also heard Michael Jackson sing in Japanese. He's using this technology and it's on point and set. You also have this, I should remember the name of the channel, but this one YouTube or short creator, content creator, what he does, he takes Arnold Schwarzenegger's face and voice and puts it in different situations, like What's Eating Gilbert Grape. That's the latest one I've seen so far. So I have the Water Boy. I have seen different samples of this and it's hilarious, but it, just like all innovations, there are limitations. Does any, 2 people on the stream, you have any questions? Oh, anything else? Machines can't take over the world unless there's a human behind it, so don't worry about that. Little thing on a tree. Don't know what it is. A whole bunch of them up here. Oh. Well, once again, sorry about the lateness. Forgot the tripod at a venue. Oh yeah, one more thing. depending on the different type of training or learning you put the machine through, you still have to supervise it. If not, you'll end up with some hilarious ChatGPT errors as this content is too lewd, I can't translate it, or ChatGPT will randomly create different lawsuit cases. He presented in the judge, and now your bar, that's a license for a lawyer to be a lawyer ring. Anyway, so they're at risk of losing their career over that little flaw. So making sure stuff gets quality controlled as they use it, even though they want to release it simultaneously, is going to be a huge part of this process. It might provide more jobs for it, even though companies want to use as little resources, give people 4 jobs for the one role that they're not paying enough for. But anyway, with that, expect a new video where I give a virtual tour of a certain place, and hopefully I'll have it out by this Wednesday or sooner. So with that, be safe. I'll see you later, people.